Hi, welcome to the Crypto Republic. Before we begin today, if you're serious about staying ahead in this once-in-a-lifetime financial shift, make sure you like this video, drop a comment, and subscribe to the Crypto Republic. Hello, XRP Army, and welcome back to the Crypto Republic, your go-to channel for the latest high energy updates in digital assets. Before we get started with today's business, make sure to smash that like button, ring that bell, and subscribe to the Crypto Republic, bringing you updates every day at 9 a.m., noon, and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is part one of a six-part series. Forget 2008. Forget the dot-com bust. Before all of that, an entire country's economy went off a cliff. And to save themselves, they did something nobody had ever tried before. They made the cost of money zero. They didn't realize it at the time, but they had just changed the rules of the global economy forever. They created an engine that would fuel the next 30 years of growth. And the consequences, ladies and gentlemen, of that decision are playing out all around us right now. You need to understand what happened. But first, a quick reminder. This video is for educational purposes only. It's not financial advice. We're looking at history to understand it today. So always do your own research. All right, let's break it down. What's up, everyone? Welcome back. I know that was an intense open, but the story we're telling today is the origin of the financial world we live in. This one is personal for me. I was just starting my career in finance in the early 90s. Fresh on the desk, thinking I had it all figured out. And then the Japan situation unfolded. And everything I learned in textbooks went out the window. What I was seeing on my trading screen wasn't just another market crash. It was the birth of a whole new kind of money. An accidental loophole in the system that has been used for 30 years. The people who understood what was happening back then made fortunes. The ones who didn't got left behind. This is your chance to understand the playbook. So if you're ready to see how it all started, do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe. It tells YouTube you're getting value and you won't want to miss the next part of this story. Let's do this. To understand how money became free, you have to see the bubble that came before it. In the 1980s, Japan was an economic superstar. It felt like the future. They were buying up properties in New York. Their companies were the best in the world, and their economy looked invincible. Inside Japan, it was a frenzy. The central bank made it easy to borrow money, which fueled a massive boom in stocks and real estate. Get this, at the peak, some people claimed the land under the Emperor's Palace in Tokyo was worth more than all of California. It was wild. Everyone was borrowing against property that was going up in value every single day. The stock market, the Nikkei, it just kept climbing. It seemed like a party that would never end. I remember the talk on the trading floor. It wasn't if Japan would be the world's biggest economy. It was just a matter of when. But bubbles always pop, ladies and gentlemen. In the late 1989, the Bank of Japan decided to cool things down and started raising interest rates. And just like that, the music stopped. The crash was historic. The stock market lost over half its value in a couple of years. Real estate prices collapsed. Trillions of dollars in wealth just disappeared. This wasn't a normal recession. It was a complete economic shutdown. They called it the lost decade. So you're the head of the Bank of Japan. Your economy's in a nosedive. Companies are failing. Banks are struggling. And no one is spending money. What do? They tried the usual tricks. They cut interest rates a little bit. It didn't work. They cut them again. Still nothing. The economy was stuck. So finally, they made a move that had never been done before by a major economy. They dropped their main interest rate all the way to zero. That's right, zero. Think about that. For the first time, the official cost of borrowing money was nothing. This was the invention of ZIRP, the zero interest rate policy. The hope was that this would finally push people and companies to borrow and spend again. But an unintended consequence happened. The smartest investors in the world, the big hedge funds and banks, saw something else entirely. They saw a loophole. They realized you can borrow Japanese yen for free. Now imagine this, ladies and gentlemen. I let you borrow $1 million. And I tell you that you don't have to pay me any interest on it, ever. What would you do? You wouldn't just let it sit there. You take that free loan and you invest it somewhere you can earn interest, right? Maybe you buy a government bond from another country, like the U.S., that's paying 5%. You pay 0% on the money you borrowed, but you earn 5% on the money you invested. You're making risk-free profit on the difference. That's it. That's the famous carry trade, ladies and gentlemen. Suddenly, a flood of money was borrowed for free from Japan and poured into markets all over the world. U.S. stocks, Australian real estate, you name it. Japan hadn't just created a new policy. It had accidentally created a fire hose of cheap cash for the entire global system. Okay, so that's a fascinating history lesson. But why is it so critical for you to understand right now, you're probably asking, ladies and gentlemen? Because Japan's last-ditch effort in the 90s became the standard playbook for the entire world after the 2008 financial crash. When the global economy was on the brink in 2008, what did the U.S. Federal Reserve do? They took the interest rate to zero. What did the European Central Bank do? The same thing. For more than a decade, the whole world ran on this free money engine that Japan accidentally invented. This policy of near zero interest rates is what fueled almost everything you've since seen. The long bull market in stocks, the boom in housing prices, the explosion in crypto. It was all powered by the same basic idea. Borrow for cheap, invest in things that go up. But here's the crucial part. What happens when the free money era ends? We're seeing it happen in real time. To fight inflation, central banks around the world have been raising interest rates. That carry trade logic is now working in reverse. All that cheap debt is suddenly becoming very expensive. The volatility you're feeling in the markets today, it's the echo of that decision made in Japan 3 decades ago. They wrote the first chapter on how to create a boom with free money. We are now living through the next chapter, unfortunately, the painful correction that happens when you turn the system off. So, ladies and gentlemen, understanding this pattern is the first step to navigating it. Look what happened in Japan was just the origin. It was the first domino to fall in a story that's been unfolding for decades. But what happened next, you might be asking? How did this idea of free money get supercharged and led to the 2008 crisis? And more importantly, what does it tell us about the economy we're right in now in 2025? Well, in my next video, video 2, the players, the housewife, and the hedge fund, the explosion of the carry trade circa 2000 to 2010, and the cultural phenomena of Mr. Watanabe. But what we've covered today is only the first chapter. The next piece of this puzzle is critical to understanding the full picture. So make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you for the next part of the analysis. If you found this interesting, the next part of the story will connect all the dots for you. This is one of the most important financial stories of our generation, and we are just scratching the surface. So I need you to do 3 things for me, ladies and gentlemen. First, like this video. It helps the channel immensely and tells YouTube you want more content like this. Second, comment below. Did you know this was where the zero interest rate policy started? Let's discuss it. I want to know your thoughts and feelings. Number 3, subscribe and ring that notification bell. I'm serious. The story we tell in the next video is the essential background for understanding the markets for the next 5 years. You don't want to miss it. When I watched the Japan story unfold as a rookie in finance, it felt like the world was changing faster than anyone could understand. But it wasn't an ending. It was the beginning of a new era, an era defined by central banks and massive amounts of debt. For 30 years, that system created a lot of growth, but it was built on a fragile idea that money could stay cheap forever. That era is now changing. The rules of that game are being rewritten. The choice you have today is either ignore these shifts and hope for the best, or you can understand the playbook. You can see how these major economic patterns work. You can learn the new rules. You can see these changes not as a source of fear, but as a map that shows you how to think smarter about your future and where the real opportunities will be in the coming decade. Stay curious. Stay informed. I'll see you in the next video. As always, ladies and gentlemen, this content is for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be taken as financial advice. Always do your own research and consult a licensed financial advisor before making investment decisions. Remember, the game is changing, and those who understand it first will benefit most. Make sure you're on the right side of it. You have two choices. You can be like the crowd, reacting after the move, rationalizing why they missed it, telling themselves they'll never let it happen again, or you can be the one who saw behind the curtain, the one who understood the infrastructure shift, the one who positioned early, not randomly, but intentionally. Because some moments in history are loud, but the ones that change everything are quiet, right up until the moment they're not. And this is one of those moments. Do not blink, because the world is distracting you with noise, while XRP continues developing behind the scenes and building momentum in the broader digital asset landscape. Stay sharp, stay informed, accumulate knowledge. Your move now will be remembered. This is not the end of the story. This is just the beginning. This opened your eyes. Smash that like button, ring the bell, and leave a comment with your thoughts. Turn on notifications, and most importantly, subscribe to the Crypto Republic. We break down the major global banking trends, shaping digital assets today, giving you context, clarity, and research you can use. Don't just watch history happen. Stay informed, stay ahead, and stay in the Republic.